Yo, 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 it is your boy, Nice versus Wild, and you're listening to another episode of Beowulf Sessions. Thank you for tuning in. Yet another week, yet another Monday, and we're showing up. I'm so proud of you. Now, I just want to say, before we get into this week's session, thank you to everybody that messaged me, DM'd me, honestly, screenshot and shared the episode last week. I got so many messages, and I'm so glad so many people resonated to the session around how character trumps credentials, and character building is the key foundation to any success in life. And I genuinely believe that. And if you really resonated with the episode, and if you actually haven't had a chance to listen to the session last week, go listen to it before you listen to this session. And I truly appreciate everybody listening to it. It means the world from the bottom of my heart. Now, if this is your first time listening, my name is Nigel Shashil. I am a full-time creative entrepreneur from South Auckland. I was born in a rural Fijian village called Lambasa, Bunileka, and my mission in life is to write a story that beats longer than my heart. Now, speaking of stories, I've been on the school run, actually, dropping my stepson to school every morning, or most mornings, and crazy story happened while we're driving. Usually when we go to school, it's about a 30-minute drive from our house to his school. It goes to a pretty cool school just by the beach. I wish I went to a school by the beach. Who wouldn't love that, right? And this drive's about 30 minutes, and usually every morning we play music that we like. And this morning I woke up, I think it was like during the start of this week. I think it was Tuesday, Wednesday. Woke up feeling a bit sick, wasn't feeling the greatest, wasn't super energized. Nice versus Wild action wasn't really happening in my mind. I was feeling a bit down, bit run down, bit burnt out. And we usually play songs that sort of hype us up in the morning, and he played a song, right? And I didn't react the way I usually react when that song comes on. And this moment and this interaction with my stepson made me realize that we actually are attached to the feelings that we make people feel, not really the song. I don't know, this is a crazy idea, right? But his happiness was based on how I usually react in the car when we play that song. He was more interested about making us more happier in the car in the morning than actually picking the song or the song playing. And this goes to show that our interactions on how we make people feel is so important. And if you can apply this to your business, to your craft, towards yourself being an artist or anything in life, feelings are the core element to showing others how that can impact a person's day, a person's moment, a person's business, a person's thinking process throughout the day. And I don't know, I just in that when we were in that car and I saw his reaction, it just made me think like how important it is for us to be able to be present in that moment, to show the right reaction and the right feelings towards each other. It doesn't even it can be in your relationship, it can be in your households, in your families, and I think it just goes to show that the attachment to the reaction can leave a lasting impression on a lot of people. And I think this is a very important factor to really understand, especially if you're running a business, right? The way you interact with your customers and your clients, like one slight movement in emotion can go the wrong way. And usually in the car when I'm dropping him to school, like I'm super energized, we're playing like David Dallas Running or something fun, or Maroon 5, or like you name it, like something super hyped, and we usually are super energized and happy. But this one time I didn't react the way we usually react, and he goes to me, "I thought you liked that song," right? And I said I do, but I'm just not feeling the energy today. And it goes to show that the way we react in situations can really make a difference in our emotional thought processes with each other. And it just made me realize that emotion and the way we make people feel is so important, especially if you listen to last week's episode, like around character building. I think it kind of really aligns with that thinking. So this week I encourage you, to really think about how you are making others feel, and how you can enhance any relationship that you're in right now, or if you disagree with someone, or if you had a bad argument with somebody, or if you feel down, or like life's too short to hold grudges. I encourage you to reach out and mend a relationship, or fix a relationship, or be the bigger person in a situation, and really understand that our time is limited and it's not going to be forever, and those relationships are vital. And if you can create a strong value and relationship around the emotion that you pass on and the energy you pass on to the people around you, I think people are always going to remember you for how you made them feel, how you genuinely made them feel inside. And I think there's a lot of value in that, which can be applied in your personal life as well as your business life and your professional life as well. So, bit of a story to kick us off with. Hopefully that sparked a light in your mind this week. I wrote a couple of things down in my diary. Before we jump into a couple of other notes, I just want to say massive lots of Feature Weddings for sponsoring every single Be a Wolf session. If you know anyone that's getting married, go check out Feature Weddings. I forgot to give them a shout out, but yeah, shout out to Feature Weddings for sponsoring every single episode. Let's go. Now, second point I wrote in my diary this week after that story point is language is reality, and language is powerful. And a lot of times we think that language is like English. It's like Fijian for me, or Fijian Indian for me, or Chinese, or like language is the way people talk, and that's the only language that we know. Now, I think we forget that as we build experience in areas of our work and areas of our life, as we get older, the more experience we get. I heard this on a podcast, and someone was talking about that our language is, that we speak as creatives, as artists, as business owners, isn't just the language we speak. It's also the experience that we've had in a craft. So, for example, if you're an IT specialist, you speak the language of an IT specialist. If you're a photographer, you speak the language of a photographer. If you are a artist, you speak the language of being an artist. And there's a lot of value and skill ingrained in that. And a lot of times we devalue our experience language because we think that it doesn't really add any value in communities and environments and conversations. So I want you to really think about this week. Think about all the languages that you speak, not only the words when I mean languages, but also the skill sets that you've got as a language set. And I think the art of storytelling is a language. You know, it's a skill set to have, to be able to tell stories, to inspire, to lead and influence emotion in people. I think that's a language. And a lot of times we don't realize that there's layers to this language, and it doesn't just have to be English or Chinese or Māori. You know, there's also languages ingrained in our skill sets. Bit of a different scope. Hopefully that makes a little bit of a sense. But what I'm trying to say is really summarize that all the skill sets that you have it's most of the times it's different from most people, because everyone's had a different upbringing, and the way we think and the way you think different is so powerful. And I say this line, and it's probably one of the biggest reasons why I named my company Feature, was because I believe that there is a special feature in all of us. That's why I named my photography wedding company as Feature Weddings, and also Feature Creative Studios, like you name it. I believe there's a different feature in all of us, and it makes us unique. And I believe that when we understand the languages that we speak, both internally and externally, we can really find the things that make us unique, weird, strange, and really elevate that, because it's the things that always make us different will always take us further. I don't know if that makes any sense, but if it does, I want you to go with it, because focus on your experience that you've had so far, keep building on it, and I promise you those languages will get better and better, whatever craft and skill you're doing right now. So yeah, that's point number sort of 2. Language is reality, and languages isn't just the words we speak, but it's also the skill sets that we bring to our relationships, to our businesses, to our crafts, to our craft. Point number 3 that I wrote in my diary this week is actually the last point, because I got really sick the last sort of 3 to 4 days, and wanted to get this recording out before Monday, and I haven't really had a chance to, learn as much as I would like to this last 7 days. And this is the only last point I wrote in my diary this week, which I wanted to share. It goes back to my story actually about emotion, and I wrote that emotion leads to action and data leads to conclusion. I'm going to try dive into this. Emotion leads to Let me say that again. Emotion leads to action and data leads to conclusion. What do you think that means? Just think about it. Emotion leads to action and data leads to conclusions. Okay, we live in a world where we value data and insights so much before we take action. If you work in a corporate environment, they'll be like, hey, we need to do the data before we spend the money on it. Or we need to focus on the data and understanding the data before we take action on it. I actually think a little bit different. All right. We need to be able to tell a narrative. Yes, tell a narrative in organizations before we can sell the data and look at the data and execute on the data. Because people don't really get inspired by data. They get inspired by the narrative that we tell them, or in organizations or in businesses, anything, right? Because data doesn't lead to emotions, but emotions can create action. It's the way that we make people feel and the way we can make people feel that can make them move. I don't know, just a random thought, okay? I encourage you, if you value data a lot, that's all good. I honestly keep going for it, but you're never ever going to be able to create the timeless narratives that you want to do in your business, in your craft, in your whatever you're doing. That building a timeless narrative is super powerful, and I think that emotion is literally the foundation of being able to even make people move. And a lot of times you might be listening to these BRL sessions and some episodes resonate and some episodes don't. And as we sort of come on this journey, I'm slowly realizing that some of the times where I've been so vulnerable and honest with my thinking processes and emotions towards this, I feel like that's the episodes that kind of resonate, right? And I think for me to be as authentic and real as possible in these sessions is I have to figure out a way to be able to articulate my stories in an emotional way which can make you move. And I think there's power in that, and understanding that a lot of times we look at data first and be like, is this going to work or is this not going to work? But a lot of times people that are innovative, that have a lot of courage to go the other way, they usually work off emotion. And I know sometimes if you just work off emotion, it doesn't work out to be on the plan off the bat, but it gives you a chance to feel what it could feel like. And I think if we like any large scale impact or change has always come from how you can make somebody feel rather than looking at the data and moving. So I encourage you this week to focus on feelings and emotions and how you can apply that in your conversations and your relationships, both personally and externally, and really think about that story I told you about me and my stepson driving to school and how I reacted to the music, which wasn't my normal reaction. And I think there's a lot of strength in that, and there's a lot of lessons in that, because emotion is so powerful. And if you can make somebody happy today, I think that's a big win, to be honest. So yeah, that's me. bit of a in-depth session. I don't know if it's in-depth or zero depth, but you get what I mean. So thank you for listening. Shout out to everybody listening to every single episode. I encourage you to go listen to every episode from episode 1 to this point. I think there's a little bit of a storyline which kind of makes sense as you listen to every single episode. So if you haven't listened to every single episode, I encourage you to sort of like go back and listen to as many episodes as you can for it to kind of all make sense. Because my mind works in a million ways, and sometimes the thinking processes are crazy in my mind. Sometimes it's all jumbled up, and you have to find the maps in between the mess, and the mess is where the magic happens. But yeah, thank you for listening. I really appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. Shout out to everybody doing reviews and stuff like that. And the other thing I wanted to talk about actually is when am I going to get back into good running routines? Every time I started running again properly after my little heart accident in the hospital, like literally 4 or 5 weeks ago now. And finally my body started to feel better. I started to run, and then I literally got sick again. This is ridiculous. This has been the most in and out winter season I've ever had, and usually I don't get really sick this badly, but I've been like sick, better. But hopefully I can bounce back next week. I can feel like I'm coming back. Let's just see how we go. Last time I said I was coming back, I got sick again. So yeah, life's been a roller coaster, but we're still showing up. I really appreciate your ears. I'm going to leave you to it. 16-minute session this week. Thank you for listening. Really appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. That's it. Keep being you. Keep being a wolf. Let's go. Peace and love. I'll see you next Monday. Woo!